Okay, so I think we are allowing our audience joining, right? Okay, so I'll wait for a few seconds to allow people entering. Right. So we do have Q&A functions in Zoom meeting. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to start it. So hello everyone, welcome to this Working Action for Asia audience. So I'm today's speaker. I'm Estelle Chen. I'm now the Working Engagement Manager. I'm based in Taiwan. So today I have my colleagues, Brian, joining me as well. So Brian, do you want to say hi?
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for joining this ORCID in Action webinar. It's a new format, and um, we're going to have some interaction. And Estelle will be presenting on our behalf. And Estelle, is it all right if I'll do the slide deck since I'm ORCID meetings or things like that, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
narrate there. Very good.
Yeah, and I also want to remind everyone, so we will record the webinar and we will send recording and associated materials afterwards. And this time we also provide certificate of participation. So please complete the post-event survey. So and you will get a certificate for this your participation this time. And we also have the Q&A functions available in Zoom meetings. So please use that to submit your questions if you do think of anything. And so yeah, let me start my slides now. And I'm going to start presenting. Great. So yes, Brian and I, the next 30 minutes, I will be presenting. So, but before I start, I want to also let everyone here know that what we will cover today for the next 30 minutes journey. So today, it's not about educational training, providing instructions for individuals to better understand the working user interface. It's not the purpose of this webinar today. Instead, our webinar event today is for you to know actions you can take to ensure yourselves can be found, cited, and recognized across the global scholarly community. That's what we want to achieve and what we want to bring away when you complete this webinar. So the agenda today, so I will start with, again, some introduction or reintroductions about ORCID. Then, so some of you may hear about the term trust markers or key trust markers. I'm going to explain in more detail about what it means and what it brings to us. Following the webinar theme, it's about working in Asia. So I will start from the research infrastructure perspective to quickly give a related summary or a scenario about working in Asia. And on the other hand, I'm also going to talk more about the important two stakeholder groups in Asia, that's researchers and universities. Of course, there are different organizations, but I will focus more on researchers and universities later on. And the most importantly, I believe a lot of researchers are here today. For those of you who are here today, you may hear about the ORCID for researchers. But eventually, what brings ORCID more useful, aside from researchers registration, is actually institutional ORCID adoptions, and will present a recent survey or investigation to demonstrate how that signal research excellence. And last but not least, we will conclude the webinar today to call for your action and things that we will share things you can do immediately to help improve the research infrastructure in Asia. And before we start, I'm going to let's have some more interactive pool as a starting point. So, Brian, are you going to
Yeah.
conduct pool, right? So let me just,
Yep.
do I
I'm
need to
going
start?
to. No, I'll go. I'll do it, Estelle.
Okay.
I'll do the emceeing bit, and then you're the
Okay.
presenter. All
Do I
right.
need to stop sharing? No.
No, that's okay. I'll launch.
Okay.
So, everyone, we're just curious to hear your familiarity with ORCID, the service, and the organization. So, I'm going to launch a wee bit of a quiz just to see uh, uh, what your thinking is at the moment. So,
And please don't feel pressure. It's just for fun. It's just
yeah.
want to ensure your level of understanding and to see what might be things that you are missing that we can provide through this webinar today. We have no rewards, no penalties, so don't worry.
Yeah, and I see some responses, so that's good. It means it's working. I'm not sure. I haven't done one of these before, so
Let us take another 10 seconds.
yeah.
All right, Brian, shall we? Or maybe another 10
Yeah, just
seconds?
if we could do another half minute.
Okay,
We've had it open for 1 minute, and
okay,
about half of the 38 uh,
okay, sure.
attendees have indicated. So let's give them a moment to put that on there. Just to note that we also have a follow-up survey after the webinar. You can either complete it on your browser once we're done, or if you have other things to do, and you'll have the link along with the recording after the session is finished. So just want to share that. All right. I think I'm going to end the poll. So
I very much look forward to the result. Can you share the results now?
yeah. All right, here we are sharing results.
Okay, but I need to stop. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
It's
Can you read
it's
question one, or do you want me to do that, Estelle? No.
I didn't see the result. I see the
Okay. Maybe that's just
questions.
for me. All right, question one. ORCID is organization, which is, and most everyone got that right. Number two, a small nonprofit who supports the registry of 20 million plus researchers. So well done, very good. That's good to hear. Question number two, the 16-digit ORCID identifier can be passed through the following metadata, and so that's publication info via DOI and funding award data in a DOI, and that is true. That's wonderful. 88% got
Wow.
that one right. Lastly,
Okay.
ORCID member organizations can add data to researchers' ORCID records with the researcher's permission. True or false? 88% said true, and that is absolutely right. So
Wow, very
very good.
impressive. Yeah, I think our audience today actually brings a higher level of knowledge of ORCID, which is good. Perfect. Okay, so let me start again, but I believe maybe a few of you still not so familiar with ORCID. So I'm going to reintroduce or introduce ORCID. So ORCID as a person ID, we work with many different IDs systems globally. So ORCID is a free, unique, persistent identifier. So you will hear about PID. It's for individuals, researchers, or people involved in research. It's launched from 2012. So ORCID is independent, non-for-profit. We are still very small team. So globally, we have 45 staff globally. So I'm based in Taiwan and Brian is in Hawaii, actually, at this point. And ORCID is entirely 100% now sustained by membership fees, by organizational membership fees, and organizational membership open to all organizations. And our fees are set to ensure the sustainability of ORCID. And ORCID is not governed by profit, it's governed by a board of directors, governed by our values and the funding principles. The board of directors are elected from and by our member organizations. So in short, ORCID complements rather than competes with different person ID systems. The reason why we want to stress this is that we notice in Asia, in different countries, you may have your national identifiers. That's perfect. And that actually provides a very good solid case to interact with ORCID as a more interoperable, as a way for national IDs to bridge with the more international interoperable standard. So ORCID is a global community in the global ecosystem. So far we have about 11 million researchers actively yearly, and we have more than 7,700 systems that adopt ORCID, and we have more than 1,500 organizational members globally. And of course, there's distribution differences, and you can definitely notice in Asia, the organizational adoption is more underrepresented at this point, which I'm going to talk more about later on. So ORCID, in short, we provide three main services. The first is the ID, as you can see here. It's a 16 digital string, of course, and you have an ORCID record, or sometimes you will be here. It's being called CV or profile. It's connected to your ORCID ID, and it contains different types of research information from employment, education, funding, peer reviews, etc. So it's kind of compile a lot about the researchers. The third is called the ORCID APIs. Basically, it's kind of a mechanism and also services and support that enable interoperability, basically data exchange and synchronization between the ORCID platform and your institutional platforms. So from now on, the next few slides, I'm going to talk more about ORCID trust markers, what it means and what value it brings. So there are three ways for information flow into the ORCID registry. The first, we have the ORCID user interface. So any user ORCID record holders, you can log into your ORCID account and you can use the interface to manually add or update information there. And the second is for member organizations. You can use member API to actually add information or update information. The third, there is a feature called Affiliation Manager. That's a feature exclusive now for ORCID consortium members. So basically, this feature provides organizations that are smaller in a consortia way. If they are smaller, they don't have much technical capacity, they can use this to add information back to the ORCID registry. And why that's important, why the way that data added to ORCID is important. So that this slide, I'm going to show the importance of transparent source. That's what we can start to talk more about trust markers. So at ORCID, we always have the metadata provenance. Transparency in who is add information and when is so important to evaluate trustworthiness. So at ORCID, as I shared, data can be added by researcher yourselves. So the source will be yourself. Or data can be added by member organization as long as researcher, you connect your ORCID ID with that system. So the source name will be the organization, will be the system. So it's clearly to understand who is adding what. And validated information, aka that is information added by organizations, are even more useful. Why? Because when an ORCID member do so, the source, the provenance, kind of this piece of information, it's kind of validated. It's kind of through institution. And this kind of information in general provides a better level of trust. Usually, it means research organizations, they add affiliations like employment or education. And for publishers, they add outputs or reviews. For funders, add funding awards. And so this kind of validated provenance information are called trust markers. In short, any item that has been validated through the ORCID member API to be added at ORCID registry. We call these trust markers, and the source will be organization. And those can be much more helpful in the general research context when you do evaluations or when you have the ranking reports, which I'm going to talk later on. And I think to now, it's a kind of very self-evident notion. If we have more trust markers, of course, we have more trustworthiness. And ORCID, we have the ORCID record summary, so we as human or machines, they can easily understand the levels of different, like how many validated works or information a researcher's ORCID ID can contain, or how many are kind of self-added. Okay, so this section, we are going to move more specifically about research infrastructure gap in Asia and what does it entail or imply. So I think most of us are coming or resident inside this Asia community, and we know that nowadays Asia itself is quite established in terms of scientific outputs or research outputs, especially over the past few years. So Asia actually now in that position, and the rise of Asia scholarly communication system actually brings due priorities. I like this phrase very much. I think it nicely captures the challenges we are facing. It's as international as possible and as local as necessary. So the research community here in Asia, they not only still need to pay attention to what more international standards or international trends, but also meanwhile, they also have to comply with national policies, compliances, and collaborations. And that means adopting an interoperable standard work with, domestically and international is even more pressing. It's not just nice to have now, it's more like a must. Only in this way, you can ensure you are at the same time as international as possible and as local as necessary. And so looking more from the data part, so Asia now leads the global ORCID user presence, yet there's an infrastructure gap here. So about 40% ORCID record holders actually are based in the Asia Pacific region, basically in Asia. But actually among our 1,700 members, so actually it's only 10% member institutions, meaning we have a very relatively low institutional ORCID adoption rate. And what's the implication? So there's a gap between ORCID registration and integration. When we say integration, that means organizations adopt ORCID, they integrate ORCID into their system workflow, research workflow. So there's definitely a significant drop-off between the number of researchers who have an ORCID ID and the number of platforms that researchers can use to connect ORCID IDs with universities, publishers, and funders. The consequence is that, as we know, trust markers are coming from organizations as validated information if we do not have sufficient organizations or institutions adopt ORCID. So we don't have sufficient trust markers that can actually circulate around the global ecosystem. So both researchers and organizations play a role in increasing visibility and quality. So now we know the difference between ORCID registration and ORCID integration. So the gap is less verified research information can be disseminated by organizations that will lead to less trust and visibility. The actions we can take is that it's actually a shared responsibility between researchers and organizations. Only those two come together so we can enable validated information, which can lead to better quality and visibility. As I shared in the next few slides, I'm going to focus more on researchers and universities. That's kind of the top two very important groups in the Asia research landscape. And again, coming back to ORCID member institution, kind of the percentage, about 77% of ORCID member institutions are actually universities, but Asia ones are missing out. Researchers, we know you register for ORCID yourself, but in general, you will need to depend or rely on institutional systems so that you can have infrastructure for better recognition and you have the access to global networks. Universities actually serve both as a research incubator and a policy gatekeeper. So they should be a part of the ORCID ecosystem or the global research ecosystem. So ORCID is not just for research per se. Universities also have a share on how research is funded, evaluated, and shared. But when we prepare for the webinar, actually we found a very simple but somehow neglected situation is that the values and the benefits of persistent identifiers, whether it's ORCID or other PIDs, must be clearly articulated. So actually researchers, university administrators, or decision makers, they really understand the value and the benefits so they can truly prioritize and take action on adoption. So we need more case studies. We need to really present the value and benefits. So a while ago, ORCID and Shimago Research Group, we conduct a joint research, and the result reveals that institutional ORCID adoptions, though often perceived as an administrative choice, which is actually not, it's not a choice. It's a commitment to reflect institutional strength and strategic intent. So I'm going to show more about the results, the study. And just for information, the Schmagel lab report is actually based on Scopus data. So more details can be found through the webinar, which I will share a link afterwards. So through the study, it's clear indicated institutional ORCID adoption signals research excellence. The result doesn't prove or doesn't demonstrate a direct correlation between ranking, and ORCID. It's not the case that you adopt ORCID, so universities can really boost their rankings. You will climb from maybe 50 to top 1. That's not going the case. But what it signals is actually the preparation, the commitment, and the way that universities demonstrate its commitment and maturity for fostering a research infrastructure. And let me start from here. So affiliations, education, employment, etc., are really a key to research integrity. But because nowadays with AI and everything, it's also a very prominent question in terms of paper mills, fraud activities, or actually to do with trustworthy information. We need trustworthy information about researchers, affiliations, research outputs, etc. So we can safeguard research integrity and further metrics. So this is the results we can get nowadays. So actually we see at this point, there are about 300 members globally, and those are the members that actually add more trust markers, validated affiliations to ORCID. And from the distributional pattern, it's clear to see Europe, or I should say Western Europe, maybe more general, is like still dominance with North America's kind of behind. But Asia actually are quite low in this regard, as I shared, because of the infrastructure gap. So I want to share a quote from Jason at University of Oxford. It mentioned the research institutions really recognize the value of affiliations, and the verified link that institution gives actually makes it more official and tracks as a part of the CDV element that in the ORCID record. And this is the report. We have a blog post and also a webinar, and the complete study, like 24 pages study, is publicly available. So please feel free to take a look and download it. So after the study, the result is that strategic ORCID adoption really lead to better global ranking and performance. So it's called an ORCID special report on ranking and research discoverability. The implications for institutional adoption is that it improves better reporting accuracy and improved research visibility. It enables stronger analytics. And the key takeaway, so institutional assert data, meaning validated information, trust markers, actually signals digital maturity, is because the active validation actually shows that more complete and consistently linked to researcher working records. And it signals more maturity and a stronger institutional performance. So institutional asserted ORCID affiliations, again, that's validated affiliations, aka trust markers. Through the study, through the analysis, it has positive correlation with higher ranking and improved visibility. So greater institution adoption definitely align with stronger performance indicators. And again, the study is based on Scopus data. I just want to ensure you know, because I realize Shimago itself may not be too well known in Asia, but basically the data resources is from a very well-known source that I believe everybody here shall understand that. And again, also a while ago, it's back in 2023, but we know like paper mills, actually multi-affiliations is also a challenge now. And validated affiliations are very vital for trust and integrity to help combat that challenge. So basically, the challenge is about affiliation shopping, meaning that researchers, because they want great credit, they want to affiliate with more prominent universities, they may really list out affiliations. Actually, they don't have much contribution or they don't have very active activity with that. But by trust markers, by validated affiliation, that can help reduce such rates. And this may be a slide not too relevant, but it's relevant. So for those of you, you may hear that actually ORCID offers a program called Certified Service Provider. So we work with system service providers so that for organizations, if you want to adopt ORCID into your research workflow, this program makes it quicker and easier. So you can start to adopt ORCID and to start to contribute trust markers. And these are the different types of workflows and systems. If you want to have a detail, if you want to know more details, please visit our webpage. So basically, we work with manuscript submission system and also research information system, even grant system and repository and discovery systems. Okay, I also want to highlight again, so Asia's research excellence really deserves global visibility, and through interoperability, that's a hard word. In short, so by adopting ORCID and aligning with international standards, together, for both ORCID researchers and organizations, we can ensure Asia research and scholars are recognized not only worldwide, but really with trust information, but also very trustfully. So now the question is, compare with previous days, which is more about, we need to disseminate wider, we need to be disseminate greater. Now it's more about we need to be disseminate more, trustfully. And it's not ORCID, it's ORCID and not ORCID or. So working with ORCID doesn't really mean individuals, organizations, you need to choose one over another. You can actually, it's both are better. So in connect your national identifiers or national system, national infrastructure with ORCID. It helps amplifying Asia's voice through more interoperable systems. And I should say, yeah, I like this is the green check mark that signals the validated port. So there are 4 steps that we summarize the call for actions for individuals or researchers you can do in your research daily life. The first is to ensure your research administrator or decision makers at your institution, they know actually they can help you, help researchers, and help the organization themselves by having a system connect with ORCID. So Brian and I, we have been working for the Asia context almost for the past 8 years, and we realized in Asia, this is really more peculiar phenomenon in Asia that organizations may overlook the part that organizations also play a role. So ORCID ID is just not for researchers to sign up and that's it. They need infrastructure. So the first point, that's what we want to convey to you. But of course, as individuals, you are welcome to visit ORCID resources so you can know better that how you can optimize your ORCID record through the ORCID user interface. So services we provide to our researchers, and also raise awareness that in ORCID institution adoption has in fact and has to do with researchers and universities rankings. And number 4 is that also, as I shared, we have the CSP program. We know there are more systems actually maybe more tailored to the Asian context, and we are eager to know more about the common systems our researchers here use in your research life that actually can be candidates that to collaborate with ORCID to provide a more seamless infrastructure for researchers to use. And as a start, also, anyone or any organization, you're welcome to apply for our sandbox member API. Is completely free, and you can try out the APIs. And I list out some useful resources. The first is a recent member survey. So I work with the Japan Consortium. We have a member survey to invite them to share, the values and the benefits they have after their organizations join ORCID. And we also have infographics there. And this is a special report. And IDME is a webinar that actually focus more on researchers, how you can use ORCID. So it's more about kind of discussing at a more from the researcher's point of view. I also encourage you to take a look if you want to know more as a researcher or as an individual, how you can do more. And that's about ORCID membership and also another feature that may be relevant for organizations. Okay, so, oh, sorry. Let me just see. Okay, so we have the post-event survey, Brian. Do you want to do it now?
Thank you, Estelle. The post-event survey is actually set up so that as soon as the webinar closes, you'll see it in your browser. But
Okay,
you'll also
understood.
get a link in the post-event follow-up. So
I
just to
see.
let everyone know, we will after this. Thank you for joining. You'll receive a link to this recording and Estelle's presentation, and also the slides, as well as the post-event survey if you are busy now. I do see 2 questions that I can see if we can help our attendees out with. Going to start number 1. I'm an independent science professional, communicator. Can I register for an ORCID without a home institution or apply through an alma mater? So yes, you can sign up for an ORCID. Individuals are able to create an ORCID record for free. That's no matter whether you're affiliated with a very large institution or not affiliated. And so I think mostly what Estelle was speaking of was the the benefit of institutions getting involved in and linking their researchers to ORCID. But thank you for the question. We also have one more from earlier. Okay. Please give any guidance on how should we increase I-index or H-index score with ORCID platforms. Uh, would you like to take that one, Estelle, or can I?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, thank you, Brian. Because I think that's actually I can imagine that's definitely a question that researchers will pay attention to. And I think, ORCID is not the metrics ourselves. I mean, we don't provide metric services. We are not the one that make policies over uh index kind of the way that index can do. But I think what we can do is to ensure more trustworthy information can be circulated over the scholarly system because any metrics or any evaluation, any citation databases, eventually they need to rely on trust correct information so that they can generate metrics that are
Um,
relevant to their scope.
yeah. So did you sh stop sharing, Estelle? There's a comment
I
that the screen
I,
is
s-
black. Oh,
I
okay.
stopped sharing.
Okay.
So yeah, I stopped sharing.
Okay. I see you and I. That seems okay, but okay.
Yeah,
Very good. Never
okay.
mind. Um, yeah, that's a good point. I will say one other thing. There's no citation uh thing connected, built into ORCID, but uh I do know that the Skimago report indicates that uh you know, affiliation and publication information and peer review information added to ORCID increases visibility,
Yeah.
and things that are more visible tend to get more citations or, higher institution rankings, and that's it. So there's not you know, a a smoking gun connection there, but it's just more likely that if you have a well-populated ORCID record, if your university has a community that has well-populated records, then you're much likely to be more visible in the research ecosystem. And I think that's what we're kind of seeing the disconnect with here in Asia, is that, of course, there's a lot of research going on, quite good, a huge amount of it. It's just not quite appearing in ORCID right now. And that may be, um, again, due to institutions not quite understanding that there's these scholarly infrastructure indices, essentially Crossref, DataCite, ORCID, ROR, all collaborating to kind of link everything that used to be in repository silos or ILS silos and things.
Yeah, and also I also want, yeah, thank you, Brian. I just also want to
Mm,
add in terms of the citation related
mm,
dimension is that, in Asia, it's like most countries they have their home languages, but eventually if you need to publish, you need to publish in English. And that means that you need to, again encounter acronym like your name's initial stuff. That
right.
actually has been a problem over the past 30 years, I would say. That's why ORCID kind of starts from that simple idea. We want to improve name disambiguation. But of
Mhm.
course, now ORCID is more than that. But still, I think if you can get clear data and ensure yourself, your research outputs, your affiliations are well recognized over the system, that will definitely help. At least you don't need to worry about error stuff that people cite you wrongly, something like that. I think that's also something I want to share with everyone here.
Yeah, I
Um,
one more thing too, I would say we notice more and more tools that are actually just using up all of the data from ORCID and from other infrastructures and things, and kind of creating these huge, I don't know, corpuses, corpi, whatever the word is, of research, and just kind of building tools to search there. And if you have a very simple, you might have an H index of 12 and then only one thing in your ORCID record. Well, it doesn't really kind of match your your
yeah.
research profile, if that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Or may
Anybody else? Any
any questions?
thoughts or
Yeah.
oh wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. One more in the Q&A. Before we fully adopt the ORCID integration, we face two organizational challenges. HR data is still updated manually, and we already have multiple researcher ID systems, including ResearchMap, ERAD, and ORCID. So ORCID tends to have a lower institutional priority. Understand that. This seems to be not only a technical issue, but an institutional governance issue. Are there any good examples or best practices from institutions anywhere in the world that have successfully overcome these challenges? That's a great question.
Do you want me to start, Brian, or do you want
Sure,
to?
go ahead there.
Yeah, I just want, yeah, thank you. I think it's Masao-san,
Mm,
it's from Japan, just for everyone's knowledge. So actually, it's a good example, so just briefly, so in Japan, they have their own national identifiers or their own national workflow, which is good. And it's not uncommon globally for organizations, when they need to adopt ORCID, they may need to, again, to deal with the first actually people as the question addressed, like, governance issue, like who is leading what and how we can move forwards. I think over the years, our by working with the community and what we learn is actually to ensure everybody is on the same page. I think that's very important to ensure everybody understand what they want to address and what want to achieve to have conversations. So it's also not uncommon for, different units within a single organizations, but they may not be able to really communicate with each other. Brian and I, we have very, how do I say, like several cases of such. So I think Orchid in this context, sometimes we can help to glue those different units together to talk. I think that's really kind of the first step to really talk to each other. So Brian, do you want to add more?
yeah. Um, yeah, I would just say sometimes the technical bit is the easy part. It's the human aspect.
Indeed,
It's as
indeed.
Estelle said, I don't know how many times I've introduced people within the same university to each other. They're
Yeah,
just different, IT people with research office, with library, and with a vice, with a provost. So, and then of course you have some of these on a larger scale, say nationally. So Japan is not the only place with this. I
yeah,
think there really have been success cases where those larger entities have realized the importance of at least interacting with ORCID and then going on from there. Yeah, and that could be even a national identifier. I know Portugal has a national identifier, but they
yeah,
also use ORCID and
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, and again, so I hope this can provide some useful guidance as a first step, really to see how to start this. And of course, reach out to Orchid. That's also something we encourage our communities to do so. Let me just check. Do we have any further questions or feedback? I'm thinking, shall we launch the Q&A pool, Brian? I think we have another pool actually, good for wrapping up this session. If we
Uh,
don't see any questions coming.
so the we do have a default one, which is kind of, do you use your ORCID record? Yes, no,
Okay,
and things. And
that's
I think our audience has indicated in the beginning that they're
yeah.
beyond that. So I'm gonna spare you folks that one. But
Okay.
yeah. But I will say for um, oops, sorry, I lost that one. Okay. Um, well, it was great to see everyone on our time zone in Asia, and if no other burning questions, I may um, close the webinar, and then we do have a post webinar survey. Would love to hear your
Um,
thoughts there. Yeah.
Let
So
me give an emoji. Again, thank you.
yes, please do. Yeah.
Again, thank you, everyone. I think it's really our first attempt to work with the community in Asia
Oh,
specifically. That's why we chose this time. And we appreciate
hang on
your
here. Do we have somebody?
participation.
I think we have
Question?
somebody have their hand up. No.
No, no, no. I think it probably it's me.
Okay. All right.
I'm using
Fine.
the emoji.
Okay. All right.
Okay, okay, cool. All right.
Oh, red balloons. Oh, lovely. Okay. Yeah.
We have red balloons, we do, and we have rockets. Like do oh yeah, you see my
Yeah, lots of rockets there. Very good.
Okay,
Okay.
we will provide the recording and materials afterwards. And again, thank you everyone to have this to join us. And I hope
Yeah.
by today's webinar we all can be on the same page to ensure
Yeah.
institutional adoptions
Yeah.
aside from
Actually,
researchers.
just one. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I am going to, Mahalo. Um, sorry. I'm going to just share my right here for one moment.
Okay. Yeah, our email. Yes.
Yeah. So if you have further questions or you feel like we didn't quite get to what you were asking, please jot this down. This is how you can contact us.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but thank you for joining.
Yeah, good catch, Brian.
No problem. No problem. All right.
Okay, so
Okay.
we are going to close webinar. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Bye
Bye now.
bye，再见，拜拜。